We are live. Hello, everybody. Most of you will know me. I'm Sally Rice, and I run Heart Space Development. And this is the first in my series of live conversations with women in business. And today I'm here with the lovely Kat Thorne. Kat and I were just saying, actually, when did we connect? Because I felt it was very appropriate to start this series with Kat, as Kat and I actually met on LinkedIn, and we thought that was about late summer, maybe August, September last year. So it felt like a really appropriate place to start this series. So a quick little intro about what I do. So I set up Heart Space Development last year. I've relaunched it recently, and I focus on helping women transition from being an employee in the corporate world to being an entrepreneur. So anybody that's working for themselves or set up a new business or thinking about setting up a new business. And Kat and I have actually been on a very similar journey in that sense. So us coming together and connecting was actually amazing timing, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
So do you want to tell us a little bit, Kat, about your journey, your career journey, and how you got to where you are now?
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Sally. I'm really touched that you've asked me to be the first in your stories. It was really amazing actually to sort of connect on a platform like LinkedIn. I think COVID has sort of shown us, really the power of digital and the importance of all of these virtual connections. But I didn't actually dream that there was somebody out there who was going to be my accountability buddy and go on this journey, which is such a roller coaster. So
and we actually live relatively close as well, which we but that's just fortunate.
Yeah, no, it was. So I think for me, I started working from a really, really young age. I've always been really, really ambitious, and I've had a really incredible career. I started off when I left university working as a teacher, quickly realised that I was in that for the wrong reasons. There was an amazing Golden Hello government initiative at the time where you got £3,000 to get a car. I needed a car. So I did my 3 years teaching and quickly realised that I was really into tech. So I went off and worked for an ed tech company for 7 years and had the most phenomenal career. And then I had this quite traumatic period of my life where I realised that I was just this biggest workaholic going, and I hadn't realised, and everything sort of came tumbling down. And I, not long after that, changed jobs and started working for the charity, which I'm still doing now. So I'm the CEO of an amazing charity called the Commonwealth Education Trust. But I'll be handing the baton over to the new CEO fully next month and going fully into my new business, which is the Morning Gamechanger. And, my own journey has taught me a lot of lessons about what it takes to be a good leader, a productive employee, and what success really means. And I think one thing that I've been really surprised about, and I was just talking to a former colleague on a call earlier about this, was that I never prioritized myself. I always prioritized work. And work took up 90-something% of my entire life. And it left me with hardly anything. And the result of that was, this major breakdown, and I lost everything. But more than that, it was that I just started to resent my job. And I loved my job. I loved the people I worked with. I didn't actually necessarily plan to start my own business. But what happened was I realized that I needed some tools to be able to manage these really challenging roles where they were so demanding. I mean, being a commercial manager, at the top of your game, the expectations, the pressure, it's huge.
Yeah,
And
I'm sure anyone at that level can sympathise with the way it just takes over your life. I mean, I know I certainly, I made the mistake, and I know you talk about it, having emails on your phone, looking at emails when you wake up, looking at emails when you go to bed, all of your thoughts being about work. I can totally relate to that. It's in a good way, not in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's, I think sometimes we think that that's only something the companies we work for can resolve for us. And we don't necessarily look inward and think, actually, there's some boundaries we can put here that won't equal us getting fired or, having to leave our jobs. And so for me, putting some of those boundaries in place made a massive difference. And as I've told you before and talked a lot on LinkedIn about how work email has not been on my phone now for well over 4 years. And I don't plan to put it on my phone at any time soon, because that has created that really important boundary and separation for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And how, so I know you're still involved with the charity in the role of CEO, but obviously you're transitioning more into your own business, which, we've been on a similar journey together and been supporting each other on that. But for you, what have the challenges been? What have the things that you've come up against going from, being an employee, with that security, that assuredness of being an employed person, to kind of starting your business? What have been the challenges, and equally, what have been the plus points for you?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is that, I've been working since I was about 9 or 10 years old, doing various jobs for money, and then sort of more serious jobs when I became a teenager. And so all I know, and most people know, for the 20, 30, 40 years we've been working, is that we work and we get paid, and we work and we get paid. And I think people start to build their lives around that monthly income that they get. And when the sort of unknown is out there, it's completely terrifying and exciting all at the same time, isn't it? Because you think, well, where am I going to get that money from? But at the same time, there's all of these incredible, exciting opportunities that you wouldn't be able to explore when you're in a quite a fixed employment situation.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's equal measures of terrifying and exciting.
It is, isn't it? I think for me, some of it was the roller coaster, having a really, successful month, and then, or a really busy month, and then obviously having a quieter month. And, it's learning, rather than knowing, right, today's payday, I get paid, it's like you said, it's completely unknown. But I think I completely agree with you. The opportunities, the possibilities, I'd say, of what we can do as entrepreneurs, as we are. I like to call everyone that has their own business or work for themselves an entrepreneur, because we are. I think it's equal measures, but I think the scales tip, don't they? I think certainly for me, I think I put a story on Instagram recently with the scales certainly tip in favour of having my own business. And personally, I don't think I could go back now.
No, I know what you mean. I think it's incredibly rewarding to work for an organisation, especially one that allows your entrepreneurial skills to develop. And I've been really fortunate that pretty much all of my career, I knew those skills were there. I didn't necessarily plan to start my own business. It just feels like the right stage now to make that leap of faith. But I will tell you, and I know we've talked about this before, but one of the things that I hadn't really considered prior to this move was the importance of investing in myself. So I think this is a really important topic to talk about, because I think we're so used to investing and spending money on tangible things that we see. So when I started my business, I went and bought a brand new laptop.
Yep.
And, it's something I went, spent a lot of money. I got something in return, and that felt okay, that transaction. But I've been working with coaches for the last few years. In fact, a couple of years ago, within my CEO role, I got a place on a fellowship program, a coaching fellowship program. So it was a 1-year program that was it was funded. I didn't pay for it myself, or the charity didn't pay. But the power of having that person who was guiding me and supporting me. But imagine my disappointment when I first met her. And if she's watching, Julie Levin was my coach, and we're still in touch, and she's the most phenomenal person. When I was disappointed initially, because I thought she was going to be from the charity sector. She was basically going to be able to tell me what to do, because I was, I was
like a manager would in a corporate role. Yeah.
And I thought, she'll have all the answers. And then I met her and I realized that she was going to help me find the answers.
Yeah.
And honestly, I cannot, credit my performance within the charity more to her than anything. It had the most profound effect. And then I realized, as over the last sort of 18 months, I've started to make steps to developing my own ideas about what I want to do in the future. I have invested in a number of coaching programs, but maybe we should talk about the word coach, because I feel like it carries
I think that's a good idea. I mean, it's interesting. I put out a post, it might go out later this afternoon, about finding your tribe. And coaching was one of those. I mean, obviously I talked about things like the accountability relationship that you and I have. Obviously you've got groups, masterminds, like you said. But yeah, absolutely, coaches. Now, I think it may have a little bit of a bad reputation, the word coach. I mean, I call myself a business mentor. I help guide people. I'm very much about practical advice. But I'm not I'm not a life coach. I'm not going to help people through work their way through things, but I am here to give advice and kind of point people in the right direction. But I mean, I know we've talked about this before, about the word coach, and we've both invested in coaches, different types of coaches. I think actually we invested in the same one at one point. What's your take on coaches?
I think it depends on your experience, doesn't it? Because I think with the fellowship program, it wasn't advertised, if you like, or marketed as a coach. It was a leadership program. So the way that it was presented was more than just coaching was a part of it. And I think it's about results. And for me, I also have been skeptical about the word coach and investing in a coach. And I think it's like any kind of service like that you invest in. It's, how do you know that this person is going to
be right
for you and get you the results? And one of the big things I've learned about my experience with coaching is that it's actually less about the other person and more about you. And I think that's an important lesson. So I think what I am doing in the Morning Gamechanger could be defined as coaching, but I also see myself as, basically helping people to reach their goals. So I help ambitious professionals to create game-changing morning routines so they can hit their goals. And that's through facilitating, through sharing, through motivating. So I think I don't fall into a particular bracket of consultant or coach.
No, it's easy to get hung up on the word coach, isn't it? Really, I mean, it's really about, like you said, it's about what we give to people, what we can deliver, and equally what people need. I mean, I think definitely last year I realized, I actually put a post out on LinkedIn, which is how you and I connected initially, and I said I need some accountability, I also need some business coaching. I think I did use the word coaching, and I had loads of different people contact me and it really varied. I spoke to loads of people, and obviously you and I work together in an accountability fashion, and then obviously I got a business coach out of that as well. But I think it's giving some real thought to the kind of support that you want as well, isn't it? And where is going to be the best place? Where do you need the most help? Is it with establishing better routines to help you get more potential? Or what you're doing, is it actually straight business advice? Or what is it because obviously there's so many people out there that can help us. I think it's kind of narrowing down what the kind of help is that you want. But so tell us a little bit more about the Morning Gamechanger. What is the Morning Gamechanger?
Well, so the Morning Gamechanger, so I'm going to be offering a range of different programs. I'll be launching a program really soon. It's the Power Session. And I'm working on a number of different programs that I'll be launching later on in the year. But essentially, it's really for people who are really ambitious, but for them, the majority of their time is being dedicated to work. Actually, one of my clients, it's also been family. But I think for a lot of us, it's just getting that balance.
Yeah.
And we just, I remember myself, I call it my old life, but I remember just waking up to my phone, checking my work emails, straight away just feeling like my heart racing, the stress and not having slept because I was thinking, worrying about everything. And then the whole day I gave everything, my best to work. Got to the end of the day, was too tired to work out, to exercise, too tired to do anything, ate rubbish, slept badly, and the whole thing started all over again.
Sounds very familiar.
It doesn't have to be like that though, but it feels like you're not allowed to say like that. You feel like your job is stealing your life, or you feel like you're starting to resent it. I feel like we need to start being allowed, or it's like okay to say that. It doesn't mean that you don't enjoy your work or that you don't enjoy your job.
And it also doesn't mean that you're putting in less to work, because if anything, you end up putting in more because you're more balanced, you're happier, you're healthier, you've slept better, all those things.
That's the irony, Sally, that I realised out of all this, was when I started putting my own morning routine in place, I became such a better employee because I shifted. I stopped feeling resentful of my job because I had time. I created time to do the things that I needed to do and the things that made me happy. And then because I was exercising every morning, I was getting this energy and this positivity. And, it's not been easy working at the charity, because we've been fundraising for the first time. We've been creating a whole new strategic direction. There's been so many challenges that I've never dealt with before. But when I started the morning routine, I'd be going in every morning going, we can do this. We can make this work. I don't know how, but we can make this work. And that's the thing that I'm really keen. That's, I think, my mission above all is to make people and organizations realize that if people invest in themselves and they create that space in the morning, they can not only hit their own personal goals, but they will be more productive and motivated at work.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the word investment really, really hits home for me. I've seen, you see various things on social media, like, you're happy to spend, I don't know, whatever it is, £1,000 on a new iPhone, but would you spend £1,000 on a personal development course? Or, you're happy to spend 4 hours watching Netflix, but would you spend those 3 or 4 hours reading a book or, learning about something new? It's really I think it's about priorities as well, isn't it? And about actually, we do have time. You must hear that all the time. I don't have the time. Actually, we do have the time. And I think that's even more important for us as running our own business as an entrepreneurs now. Having that that good start to the day, that good structure. I know I've certainly struggled with that, going from not having to be at my desk at 9 o'clock, not that I ever was really in that position, but as an example, to actually, being in control of my own time, but still needing some kind of structure around that and some motivation, I guess, around that as well. So I think it's just as relevant for people working for themselves as it is for corporate workers, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, it's just been something else that sort of has just been this big learning journey, that actually probably need it even more if you're working for yourself, because you don't have the normal structures that you have when you're working in a more traditional environment. I think the other really exciting thing when you start creating a solid morning routine is because you're giving yourself this time, things suddenly start to come up. So it was actually the idea to start this business that came up in the mornings. But because I'd never actually given myself the time before, didn't really know that all of this was here, and this could be so exciting and a new sort of direction for me, as well as a whole bunch of other things that I've been meaning to do for years, like conquering exercise, eating better and being really, I think the big thing is you get all these lovely things out of the morning routine specific to you, but the big thing is that you get this sense of clarity and awareness that you can apply to different parts of your life, and strength to just go out there and think you can just achieve anything. Everything is possible.
Amazing. And to anyone that's watching, what would be your, I know obviously, having a morning routine is, what you're passionate about, that is the morning game changer. But, for anyone that's watching, for anyone that is perhaps either, being, under that kind of corporate imbalance, or indeed anyone, from a heart space point of view, anyone that started working for themselves, would you have some top tips, Kat, to pass on?
Yes, I think the number one tip is start writing it down. I think, some of these words are like, I'm not into kind of trends and fashions and things, but I feel like everybody's like glamorizing journaling and meditation and all these things. But actually, writing your thoughts down has been around for decades. So this is nothing new. But I think we don't do it. We just, every spare minute is spent kind of looking at our phones or doing things that don't necessarily help us towards our goals. And I think if you get a piece of paper or a notebook and a pen, what comes out is just quite amazing. And if you do it regularly, it really helps to clear some of that noise in your mind and to get clear. Have you found that with your own?
Yeah, my coach calls it having a heavy head, and I think I put a post out about it the other day. That kind of feeling, especially at night, whether you're employed or working for yourself, that when things go round and round and round and round. And she talks about having a heavy head, and she talks about actually just if you get that out onto paper, or I use my iPad or type it, whatever works for people. It's just the process of actually getting it out of your head and onto a page helps with that heaviness, that kind of stress and anxiety when things are just continually going round. And for me, that's definitely true. Sometimes I'm just, writing as if I'm writing in a teenage diary. Sometimes I write lists. Sometimes it's just bullet points. I don't think it really matters how you do it. But I definitely agree with you. I think it doesn't have to be every day. It can just be, a couple of times a week. It could be once a week, whatever works for people. But I think, getting it out of your head onto paper, 100% agree with that one. Yeah.
I think that if somebody wanted to start a morning routine and that was like one thing they could manage, and have it by your bed. You can just put your light on, drink a glass of water in the morning, and just start jotting down what's in your head. I think that alone would make a really significant difference before incorporating anything else. The other thing I would say as a tip, something I've been doing religiously for some time now, is on a Friday I plan what I need to do for the following week. So I've got a weekly planner and a daily planner that I use mostly for my job, but I have similar things for my own business. And so I never leave on a Friday with that feeling that I'm going to get the dread on Sunday, because I know on Monday morning I pull out the plan. I've got my top 3 priorities. I've dotted out my week. Even though we all know we open our laptops up on Monday and everything changes, it doesn't matter. It makes me feel more in control. And it means that if I'm not working at the weekend, I can actually just relax. And that was never how it used to be. It used to be I couldn't shut off. And I think that's when the damage starts, because that's when people turn to, having crazy weekends or being excessive with drinking or eating or whatever it is, just to cope with the fact that they never can't quite separate, can't create those boundaries.
I think, definitely. I mean, I think that Sunday night feeling is probably so familiar to so many people. And we have it growing up, don't we? We have it when we dread going to school. And then obviously, you know, that goes into work as well. I mean, I have to say, I'm probably guilty of not planning enough for the following week. But I know when I do it, I feel so much better. And I'm so much more productive as well, actually, rather than coming to sit at the computer being like, right, what am I doing? What am I doing today? You know, it's actually, again, your own business or as an employee, I think, just with the productivity as well, and just feeling like, I think in control, I think is a good way to explain that. And it can be 10 minutes, can't it? It doesn't need to take hours.
And the thing is, I was reading the book about habits the other day, and they were talking about how to create a new habit, and that you tag it onto something that an existing habit to make it easier for you to maintain. And just think, what is it that you know, even if you diarize it in your calendar on a Friday, and then it just becomes habit and you start to do it. I think sometimes we're looking for these, you know, big game-changing answers, and there aren't any. There are small things that you need to do consistently. And I think this kind of full circle back to the word coach, mentor, accountability partner, whatever you want to call it. I think we all need those people in our lives, whether they're this relationship that you and I have, where we speak once a week, we meet every second week, we're really supporting each other, but holding each other accountable as well. Or whether it's a formal, you know, program or coach you're paying for, or whether it is your manager or a colleague or something. But I think as human beings, we have the best intentions. We know what's good for us, but we just don't always do them.
Yeah, so true. So true. Why do we not do what is good for us? That is the question. We all know we're going to feel better after exercise. Can I always make myself do it? No. Definitely not.
I know. And I think this is part of it, isn't it, as well, about, you know, not beating yourself up, not setting such difficult goals that you end up just, you know, failing and then you give up, but just aiming for sort of 80% consistency. That's what I focus on. If one morning I really, really don't feel like getting up at 5, I won't get up. If I really don't feel like working out, I won't. You know, I think it's nothing's going to happen if you miss a day of this, or if you don't plan your week out one week. But I think it's also human nature. We want to, I think I posted about this the other day, that we seek instant gratification. So it's much easier we're just drawn to things where we get pleasure immediately, rather than if we're going to see the results in 1 year or 12 months.
Definitely.
I think that's why people sometimes they just knock coaching or knock self-development, because they don't view things in the long term. They don't see what's possible if they actually applied themselves and invested over a period of time.
Yeah. I'm looking at my phone because my coach actually sent me a quote the other day, which I'll read because it's really relevant. It's by Daniel Priestley, who's an author. He's really well known, and he posted a post, and he said basically, you know, whatever is difficult isn't going to be, whatever is going to be really worthwhile is not going to be easy in the beginning. You know, it said Lego was 23 years old before it launched its Lego brick system. Disney, the company, was 32 years old when it opened the gates of its first theme park. Vivienne Westwood had been designing fashion for a decade before she had her first show. And it goes on and on, Dyson, Apple, Nike, Nike achieved its first 1 million after 12 years. I mean, with that, but you don't think about brands taking that long. You just see the success. But I think the point she was making is that, it says here, we're conditioned to think that success happens fast and in a straight line. It's often not true. Success takes time to get going, and then it often hits walls along the way. So I think it was just an interesting, viewpoint that actually things can look really successful. I know the body coach actually randomly talks about it a lot, is that people say, oh, you're such an overnight success. He's like, no, this took years of doing boot camps and putting himself out there, like literally holding a banner, you know, but people often see the end result. But it's easy to forget that, though, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
It is. Really I think, you know, my motto is we only get one life, and I know that I would rather be, you know, I've got to a point now where I've applied a lot of, you know, work to myself. So when I wake up at 5, I'm excited to get up most of the time, because I want that life that's on my vision board. I want the life that I'm working towards. I don't want an average life. I want an extraordinary life, and one where I'm fulfilling my true potential. And I think that to me is where the opportunity is. And that's also where, for me, the sadness is that a lot of people have got so many self-limiting beliefs and so many negative people telling them things. I mean, people have told me, you know, people are not going to, you know, people won't be interested in what you have. And I'm just sort of smiling, going, okay, thanks
for you. Yeah.
But that's not what's true, and that's not what I believe. And I think it's so easy to sort of listen to something and then to let that drive your life. And
definitely, yeah, to let the doubt kind of set in, with, especially if you've got your own, like you said, your own kind of limiting beliefs, you know, this isn't going to work, you know, who's going to listen to me, you know, all those things. And I think another reason why it's good to invest in coaches, mentors, finding your community, a membership, you know, whatever that tribe of community is, I think it's getting that support to go, no, you can do this, you can do this, and other people going, yeah, absolutely, you know, go for it. But yeah, not listening to those internal voices.
Exactly. And it's like anything. It's like, I've been thinking a lot about giving up smoking. I'm not a smoker, but my partner is. And we're talking about this hypnotherapy that we're looking into at the moment. And thinking about it with my PT, you know, about the investment of, you know, eating better and exercising. And I think the key is you're only going to get results, no matter who you work with, if you are ready to make that change. You're ready to do the hard work.
100%.
So I'm looking forward to working with more clients that want to live a better life, that want to you know, invest that time in the morning. They don't necessarily want to wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, although it's not as hard as you might think. But they want that other life, and they're willing to put in the work to get there. Don't expect that somebody, your PT or your coach or your trainer, is going to do that work for you. You've got to do the heavy lifting. But you know, that's what life's all about. I mean, I think you've got 2 choices. You can carry on and have a very average life, or you could just take a chance and see what's really out there.
You're so motivating to speak to, Kat. I love that we speak every week, and I get a little pep talk most weeks, which is brilliant.
I'm so grateful for our sort of friendship and our accountability relationship. It makes a big difference, because it can be quite lonely on this journey.
Yeah, it can be, and I think I've spoken about that before. I think when I on one of my Instagram stories, you know, I said, you know, I want to be very honest about my journey as an entrepreneur. You know, some days it's great. Yeah, I can go and work in the garden if I want to. I can take the day off and go and swim at my outdoor pool at the gym if I want to. Great. But actually there is those times you think, actually, you know, it can be, like I said, it can be, one of the things is it can be a bit lonely, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur who's working on their business on their own. I think that's why finding people, connecting like we have, you know, finding your tribe, as I called it on my post today, is just paramount to getting that success and that accountability as well. But yeah, thank you, Kat.
It's been brilliant.
I'm so pleased that you were able to come on and talk to us, and thank you. And if anybody wants to connect with you, where is the best place to, or where a place is to do that?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is just the best place. So send me a connection request or follow me. I've been posting every Monday morning, and I've started going live now. And I think, you know, I'm going to start doing a 5-minute Monday motivation, just with one sort of tip or strategy each week. So hopefully would be great to see people there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look out for that. Well, thank you, Kat. And thank you joined us either live or watching this on the replay. Thank you. Please post any comments or questions for either Kat or I. We're more than happy to help. And yeah, have a good weekend, everyone.
Yeah, fingers crossed for Sunday.
Absolutely, yeah. See, I'm not into football. That didn't even enter my mind. But yeah, absolutely, yeah. Fingers crossed for Sunday. And yeah, I'll see you all soon. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Kat.
Bye.
Bye.